So let's continue, and now we will be working on the quantity manager, which is this particular thing, like showing the quantity plus also adding the functionality of reducing it or increasing it, and at the same time reflecting the price depending upon the quantity. And also this particular thing, like the total amount, if we have some time left. So anyway, let's actually do that. If we head back to the editor right over here, currently we are looping over this thing, like the books that we have in the cart, and we are showing the cart item, which are these. So now we also need to pass down the quantity. Let's do that. So over here we will be passing in the QTY, the quantity in short, and in the cart, which is an object, the particular book, the one that we are iterating over, we will be passing in the value in such a way, because the value of the book name in the cart is the quantity. So now let's get to the cart item. Let's make sure to destructure it right at the top, and to the quantity manager we can pass down, let's see what all do we need to pass down. The quantity, why the key, 1 second. Well, actually just the quantity for this thing specifically. So if we do that, and if we take a look, let me just refresh, let's add these things, and there we have the quantity. So if we increase it, it's going to reflect the same thing, so that's perfect. But we need the same thing, like the same quantity manager functionality over here as well. So let's do that. So firstly, in the book item, let's actually get to the books first, the books component. We are passing the increase quantity as well as decrease quantity. So that's the thing. We need to do something similar, but before we do that, in the cart, let's get to the index.js in the pages directory, and let's pass down the same two functions, increase item quantity and decrease item quantity, to the cart panel in such a way. So now let's get to the cart component, well actually the cart panel, that's the one. So let's let's destructure. I'm gonna copy the same thing just so that to avoid accidental typos. So I'm gonna cut this thing out, let's place it over here, let's pass it down. So now let's pass the same thing to the panel component right over here. Let's do that. The same thing as such. So it means that we will be we are also going to pass down these two things to the panel component, although the same things will also be passed down to the enter details, which I think in this case we do not really need, but never mind. So we are just gonna ignore the other ones and just care about the one that just take care of the ones that we need in the enter details component. Anyway, so now let's actually get to the cart component over here. Let's destructure these two functions and let's pass down the same thing to the cart item. So for that, let's actually take a look at what we did in the cart component. No, not the cart, it was the books component. The books component, we are passing them down as such. So I'm gonna destructure the same thing, and kind of lost for a second. So yep, over here where we have these two, let's pass down the increase quantity and decrease quantity. And now let's get to the cart item component. Let's destructure these two, and these are the times where kind of one realizes that it would have been much better if we had at least if we were using context API, but I should have done that actually, but we are already too deep into this thing, so refactoring the entire thing would be, I don't know, not wise at this point, but I will surely take care of this in the upcoming series, like to make sure that we use an actual state management or at least context API. Anyway, so now we just need to pass down these two. So for that, in the book item, let's see how exactly we are passing them down. So that's the way it is. Let's do the same thing, and we don't have to do much because we have already, like, the quantity manager is already structured in a way that it's gonna expect these three things and will automatically use them. So now if we head back and if we take a look, let's see. I guess I have to refresh. Let me actually open the console just to see. Let's add something first. Let's see. So we have an error, obviously. So we have to pass down the book name, and yep, we cannot just copy things blindly. We have to take care of the proper usage. So yeah, that's the way it is. Like, that's where it is. So I'm gonna pass down the book name in such a way. So now we should be able to use this thing. So that is beautiful. So if I click on this thing, it gets removed. Perfect. That means everything is working in terms of the cart functionality. So now let's update the price as well. Let's do that. So we have the cart item. So we got the book, we have the price of it, we have the price. So we have to multiply it by the quantity, and we have both the things. We have the price and we have the price and we have the quantity. So over here, let's do the QTY in such a way, and let's take a look at what we have. So that is actually good. That's good. Whoops, we need to take care of such edge cases. So in order to do that, what we can do, let's actually wrap them in a bracket, and let's use 2 fixed with a value of 2, which would be like specifying the number of digits that we want to display, ranging from 0 to 20. So now if we take a look, that's looking much better, I believe. All right, so that's perfect. And now we also need to work on the total. Let's do that. So for it, let's actually take a look at the cart component where we have total, which is over here. So for the total, we need to first kind of get total for each of the book and then accumulate the entire thing, like the grand total of all the items. So for that, we got the cart. So we do have the cart. Let's actually do it over here, const total amount. And how can we do it? So we have books in cart, right? Books in cart, which is an array, and in order to accumulate, we can use reduce. So we pass down a function where the first value is the previous value, or to say the accumulator in this case, and the next value, so the next argument is the current value. So I'm going to name it as next, and let's pass down the default value to be of 0. All right, the initial value, and we have to make sure that we return back accumulator so that everything works in the expected way. So now we will be we're gonna iterate over each element, which in this case is the book name. So we need the price first of the book that we are iterating over. So I'm gonna name it as price. The next is, like, it's gonna be the book. So we have the books array. And let's find the book first, book.name to be of next. So this will return back the book, and we need the price of it. All right, so this is the price. So what we need to do is we need to add that amount to the accumulator. So what we can do is accumulator plus equals to price. I'm not quite sure at this point. So let's just first display like what we have at the moment. Let's see. Okay, that's what is this thing? What exactly is this? Let me just put the quantity to be a 1. So that's not right. That's not right. 0.75. That's obviously we didn't even take into consideration the quantity. Yeah, my bad. So let's fix that. So we also need to multiply it by the quantity. So turns out we cannot do this thing right away. Let's first have the book in this way. Like we have the book, and now we can do book dot price into what? Into the quantity. So for that we have the cart, and we have the next value, like in this way, right? We have the so this will return back the quantity. So I know it is pretty complicated, so let me just break it down. But before that, let me actually make this thing work. Okay, how about this? Let's see. Well, that's not working. I think this is the book. This is the book. This is the price. This is the name. How about the price in this way? Let's see. Okay, so that is indeed working. Yup, it is working. Let me add one more book to just check it out. So if we add another one, which whoa, okay. So it seems like it is working, but we need to do the same thing of using the toFixed thing. Don't worry, I'm gonna go through, like I'm gonna walk you through the entire thing, what we just did. So let's pass down the toFixed to be of 2 first, and that's perfect. All right, so let me just kind of break this thing down. So the reduce function that we are using, it's a native array function. We passed down an accumulator. It takes an accumulator as an argument. So the first argument is actually the accumulated value. In this context, like there are many different ways to use reduce. In this case, we are using it as an accumulator to accumulate value. So the first is the accumulator, which would be the default value, which is 0, and the next one would be the next value, the next item in the array. So this, in this case, because we are using reduce on books in cart, so this thing would be the book name. So assume that this is the very first iteration, like how it will go, like how it's gonna work. So over here we are first finding the book, right? The book by using the name of it. So we have all the books, we are finding the particular book with the name of the book name. So this thing will be the book object. Then we need to find, like we need to have the price of it in respect to the quantity which has been set. So we are doing book.price, we have the book object, and we are multiplying the value, like the price, into the quantity. So cart is an object, and we are just getting the quantity of it, because the in cart we have an object, the value is the book name, the property is the book name, and the value is the quantity. So this thing will return back the quantity. So we are multiplying these two, and it's going to give us the price, and we just need to return back the accumulator with the new value. Like whatever we return back over here, it's going to be the new value of the accumulator for the next iteration. So this thing in the next iteration, it will, like this thing, like whatever we return is going to be the new value, and we're just doing the same thing over and over again until we have the total amount. So now if we save it, I guess this thing is done, which is actually beautiful. We have the entire thing working, and this actually completes the cart component in itself, like the entire thing. So that is beautiful. So in the next one, we are just left with the other part, which is enter details. And well, actually we are done with this thing as well. We just need to have a state to bind these input fields with it, like with the state. And then we are actually good to go. We are actually done with the entire application, at least the front end part of it. So yeah, let's actually continue with it in the next video. And once again, thank you for watching.